What's up, cinephiles? Guys, welcome to our Oscars prediction show. Phil won't be joining us today, but don't worry you guys, because I have a friend here who's also kinda expert when it comes to Oscar predictions. Let's welcome Playbuck.
Yay! Thank you guys! I'm so excited to be here. It's my first time to collaborate with a fellow YouTuber, so this is very new to me. This is a new setup, this is a new play, so let's do this.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to discuss each Oscar-nominated Best Picture and then cite the chances of winning per category they're nominated. So the first we have The Irishman. It has 10 nominations, including Best Director for Martin Scorsese, Best Adapted Screenplay, Production Design, Cinematography, Visual Effects, Editing, and 2 Best Supporting Actors for Joe Pesci and Al Pacino. Currently sits at 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, Dennis, here's my question to you.
Okay.
Out of all these nominations, what do you think is the award that will go to The Irishman?
I really feel so bad for The Irishman because 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I really thought that The Irishman is gonna win the whole thing. It was the front runner for so many months before December came. But I feel like The Irishman will come home empty-handed at the Academy Awards.
Actually, that is my prediction. This might come as a surprise to you, but I think the strongest case for The Irishman is visual effects, mainly because of the aging effects they did for Robert De Niro. And Robert De Niro is here for most part of the film, so
Yeah.
it's a 3.5 long film.
That makes sense. But I feel like it has strong competition between Avengers
Yeah,
Endgame and
definitely.
The Lion King. Avengers Endgame will win something.
Yeah.
And if it will win something, it has to be visual effects. The Irishman is a pure cinematic masterpiece. It's Martin Scorsese. We all know his type of filmmaking. It's like an amalgamation of Goodfellas and The Departed. It's a classic mob film, but I just don't see it as a modern film to win Best Picture, especially in the presence of Parasite, 1917, and a few others. I don't think The Irishman is at the head of the pack.
Yeah,
for me.
I agree. The Academy has shown love for the mob films, but every year there's someone who's nominated for multiple categories and gets no win. And I
Yeah, same
think
with
this
American
year,
Hustle.
yeah.
Back in 2014, it was nominated for 13 Oscars and it didn't win anything.
Wow.
Yes,
That's-
so it can happen again to The Irishman this year.
Okay, now let's proceed to the next film. We have Marriage Story. It has 6 nominations, including for Best Actor for Adam Driver, Best Actress for Scarlett Johansson, Best Supporting Actress for Laura Dern, also nominated for Original Screenplay and Original Score.
I think the lock win for Marriage
Yeah.
Story is, without a doubt, Best Supporting Actress for Laura Dern. I think it might have a shot for Best Original Screenplay, but that is a tough crowd. I don't think it's a shoo-in to win Best Original Screenplay, but Laura Dern has it in the
Yeah.
bag.
The nominee that should have been here is
J-Lo.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez. If she was here, she's gonna give Laura Dern a run for her money. But unfortunately, the Academy voters seem to perceive her more still as a celebrity.
I've said this a million times. I feel like the Oscars recognize actors and actresses for their entire body of work and not just for that particular performance. Personally, I prefer Jennifer Lopez in Hustlers than Laura Dern in Marriage Story. The character of Laura Dern in Marriage Story is like a downgrade of her character in Big Little Lies. I love Renata Klein so much in Big Little Lies, and I feel like that is her best version of a powerful woman, and watching her in Marriage Story is like a tame version of what she did in Big Little Lies. So I wasn't really captivated with that performance, but Jennifer Lopez is the epitome of a powerful embodiment of a supporting actress, literally supporting a film. She was a great backbone, a great contrast to Constance Wu in Hustlers, and I feel like it was such a crime that she wasn't nominated. And I feel like the Academy still sees her as that rom-com star
Yeah.
who sings in concerts and not really a serious actress. So it's unfortunate
Yeah.
that she wasn't
This
given
is a
this
big shocker
credit.
for me because I was expecting J-Lo to be nominated.
Yes, everybody's expecting.
Yeah, she won already on what, Golden Globe?
She hasn't won in Golden Globes, but she won a couple of awards in the Critics Association somewhere in the United States.
But last year, Lady Gaga has been nominated.
Yes.
So, coming in this year's Oscars, my perception is that voters have already broke down the perception of superstar celebrities not getting nominated. But yeah, that's quite unfortunate.
Yes.
How about Best Actor and Best Actress?
I thought Adam Driver will give Joaquin Phoenix a run for his money. I thought they will be neck and neck. I thought the Golden Globes will go to Adam Driver and the other side will go to Joaquin Phoenix, but no.
Over time, Adam Driver is starting to lose steam.
Yes, and it's Joaquin Phoenix all the way. I feel like at this point, Scarlett Johansson might actually have a better shot than Adam Driver, but no, that's not gonna happen.
I would put Marriage Story on the top 5 films to win the Best Picture category. There are some actors and actresses in the committee, right?
Yes.
And this,
20% of the voting academy is,
really?
is members of the Screen Actors Guild.
That's quite a huge percentage.
Yes.
And I feel like this film is a acting masterclass. The banter, the dialogue, and I think this actors and actresses will honor this masterpiece. So yeah, I can see some votes going for Marriage Story. I'm not totally canceling this one on the Best Picture race.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that the actors might actually give the Best Picture win to Marriage Story because it's an acting ensemble. But in irony, Marriage Story wasn't nominated for Best Acting Ensemble at the SAG Awards. And I feel like if it has any chance of winning, it is the SAG Awards. So it was a bit of a surprise that Marriage Story wasn't nominated at all because I feel like it should be nominated for that award-giving body because it's an actor's piece, basically. So if any, I think the strength definitely of Marriage Story is its screenplay. It's very masterfully done. I think movies like this don't get enough credit. It reminded me so much of Sideways in 2004, Kramer versus Kramer. It's a very screenplay-driven film, and I don't think screenplay-driven movies win enough Best Picture in the history of Oscars.
Let's move on to our next Best Picture nominee. We have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So it has 10 nominations. Best Actor for Leonardo DiCaprio, Best Supporting Actor for Brad Pitt, Best Original Screenplay, Best Director for Quentin Tarantino, also nominated for Best Production Design Cinematography. It won Best Picture
At the Critics' Choice and
Critics'
Golden
Choice.
Globes.
Yeah. Currently sits at 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, which award do you think will Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will bag?
This is hard for me because I'm not personally the biggest fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but objectively speaking, I feel like, again, Best Supporting Actor for Brad Pitt is a lock. It's a shoe-in. He will win Best Supporting Actor. And other categories that Once Upon a Time might have a big chance on is Best Original Screenplay. The Oscars love Quentin Tarantino as a writer, and they obviously give him credit many times before, back in Django Unchained, Pulp Fiction. Obviously, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a love letter to Hollywood, and Oscars love movies about Hollywood, like La La Land. So I feel like that is the reason why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will excel.
And given Quentin Tarantino's track record, I think he has mastered crafting a great screenplay and a great supporting actor.
Yes.
I don't know, he always does a better characterization when it comes to the supporting actor. More,
I agree.
Sometimes more than the actor. So
I agree. Production design, it's a strong contender for that category because they literally built the 60s in Hollywood. Like, they closed so many freeways in Hollywood just to rebuild that and make it look like it's in the 60s. But I feel like Parasite is campaigning so well in the production design. Like, they disclosed how they built that house in order to create that effect of the marginalization of classes. So Parasite and Once Upon a Time has to be neck and neck in the production design.
Okay, so moving on to the next film, we have Joker. Out of the nominees, this is the highest grossing. It has 1 billion in the box office and 11 nominations. It's the most nominated Oscar film, including Best Original Score, Best Director for Todd Phillips, Best Adapted Screenplay, Editing, Mixing, Makeup, Costume, and it's the third comic book movie to be nominated after Dark Knight and Black Panther. But looking at its Rotten Tomatoes score, it's at 69%.
For sure, obviously, Best Leading Actor for Joaquin Phoenix, and Hilder, what's her surname? She will win Best Original Score, and she will be the first female to win Best Original Score at the Oscars.
We haven't had a female.
Yes, we haven't
original
had any female composers to win Best Original Score, so that is exciting. I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see the score as a standout.
While watching Joker, the Best Original Score already popped into my head, especially in that scene in the bathroom.
Ah, yes.
Joaquin Phoenix was relishing his newfound
I see.
persona.
Yeah.
That was a spine-chilling moment for me.
And that was spontaneous as well.
Yeah.
That wasn't scripted at all. Like, the score was just played and Joaquin Phoenix just did his thing.
Why do you think voters will vote for Joker? Will or won't?
Well, I feel like will, because I feel like the Oscars is making up for their mishap on overlooking The Dark Knight back in 2009. So I feel like they're overcompensating now by giving Joker the most number of nominations. But at the same time, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I do feel like, and I do still believe that Joker is a masterpiece. It reminded me so much of Taxi Driver, Martin Scorsese, the 70s, and it's an actor-driven film. Like, Joaquin Phoenix really embodied the character. Like, his characterization is above par. And the reason why I don't think voters will vote for this one is that it might be too controversial because, like, a couple of months ago, a lot of conversations that it's glorifying violence came into the conversation, so that might be a little tricky on the Academy.
Yeah, I agree. This is a very polarizing film. But now that you've mentioned it, I just realized that the Academy has shown love for Joker, no?
Yes.
With Heath Ledger being nominated on the past. Yeah, it's a very polarizing film. I wouldn't count Joker making it to the top 5 of my best for me, given the fact that it's a comic book movie, and I don't think the Academy has already overcome that hurdle of that stigma of comic book movies getting nominated.
Yes, because a lot of them are old white men, the members. So they're voting according to their old school mindset.
So now let's proceed to Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi. It has 6 nominations, included Adapted Screenplay and Production Design. And it's the Toronto International Film Festival Audience Choice. I think if there's gonna be a surprise win of Best Picture, I wouldn't be upset if it's Jojo Rabbit. For
me either. I love the movie.
It's such an adorable film. So, but given these nominations, what do you think?
I feel like I do agree that Jojo Rabbit might pull an upset. I feel like it's the Green Book of this year. It's so polarizing when in terms of content, but at the same time, it's so entertaining. It's so funny. It's so humorous, and it's all in one. It's emotional. It's exhilarating. It's everything.
However, there's a reason that some voters won't vote for this film because I think some viewers won't get the humor here is intentional, the mockery. And it's still a sensitive subject, but for me, this movie comes out triumphant considering it's handling a sensitive subject, and it's very unbiased that this is just painted on the perspective of a child.
Yes, Jojo Rabbit won Best Editing at the Eddie Awards over Parasite, which everybody was kind of expecting that it will win the Best Editing. I love the editing of this movie. It's so fast-paced, and it's not forced in any way. I like the craftsmanship of the movie.
Next film, I don't think you've seen this yet, but it's Ford v Ferrari. For nominations, including Best Editing, Sound Editing, and Sound Mixing. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Out of all the nominees here, I think Ford v Ferrari has the least shot.
Do you think it's the weakest?
Yeah, I think it's quite suggestive that it has no acting nominations. Right? And though there's an editing here, but what can I say? This is just a crowd pleaser. It's a movie that's really for adrenaline junkies. I don't know anything about race cars, but I really enjoyed watching this film. But I wasn't actually expecting Ford v Ferrari to get nominated for Best Pictures.
Do you think Christian Bale and Ford v Ferrari should have been nominated for Best Actor?
So looking at his competition, I haven't seen Pain and Glory.
Me either.
I wouldn't put him above Leonardo DiCaprio, Adam Driver, and Jonathan Pryce performance. Definitely not above Joaquin Phoenix. First part of the film, I was adjusting because I felt like he was doing a Matthew McConaughey impression with his accent.
I see.
And it took a while for that to sit well on me. But as the film went on, he has a good dynamics with Matt Damon. And maybe if there's a 6th slot for the Best Actor, he would have made it in this list. but looking at the current list, this is actually a solid
Yes.
list.
And Christian Bale doesn't need it. I mean, he already won an Oscar.
So let's proceed to Little Women.
Okay.
It has 6 nominations: Adapted Screenplay, Best Actress for Saoirse Ronan, and Best Supporting Actress for Florence Pugh. It has a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So out of these nominations, which award do you think?
I feel like Little Women has the biggest shots on costume design and adapted screenplay, because I feel like the Academy will compensate the fact that they snubbed Greta Gerwig by giving her the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. So, and the screenplay of Little Women is so well written. It's mind-blowing how Greta Gerwig crafted a tale as old as time that has been done over and over again in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 90s, but with such originality. It's crazy. So she deserves it for sure.
I haven't read the source material here, but yeah, I was astounded how they presented the timeline here.
I feel like Little Women stood out because of its writing, not necessarily for its directing. Like, Greta Gerwig masterfully wrote it. So I think it got its due, which is the writing category.
We have 2 films remaining now.
Okay.
I'm saving the best for the last. We have 1917. It has 10 nominations. Best Cinematography, Best Production Design. I think Roger Deakins has it locked for the best cinematography. Watching 1917, I was just wowed. I was just feeling painful because it is essentially a cinematic spectacle, and how he showed care for the characters. He has able to capture multiple angles and really perfected an angle that captures the emotions of each actor.
Yes.
It really took a lot of effort to display those ruins, those barracks.
It is a continuous shot. The production design, like the production setup, has to be continuous as well. So they can't cheat the production. So it really has to be a well-designed set, basically.
Yeah. How about for Best Director?
It feels like this year it's Sam Mendes all the way. Sam Mendes has won literally everything before the Oscars. It is no competition. It has to be Sam Mendes.
Now, let us talk about the chances of 1917 winning, because this is one of the front runners.
It won the Critics' Choice Award. It won the PGA, or the Producers Guild Award, which basically is a large population in the voting academy for Best Picture. It also won the Golden Globes, and it will win on Monday at the BAFTAs because the Brits love the Brits.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's pretty much a shoo-in that this is gonna win Best Picture, which frustrates me because Parasite is here, and I feel like 1917 is winning because it's a difficult film to make. But I don't think that feat is anything new in the Academy. Gravity has been done before, Birdman has been done before, Dunkirk has been done before, and I don't understand why it's the sales pitch that this movie is a one-take film. So it's a bit frustrating that it is the front runners, but like, it is what it is.
It's quite surprising though that it's not nominated for Best Film Editing.
I actually have...
And I think that's a good indicator. However, I think some films from the past have not been nominated for Best Film Editing, and they have won. Like Birdman
is the only film that was not nominated for Best Editing that eventually won Best Picture. But I mean, that goes to show that it is still possible that 1917 will win. But at the same time, the odds are quite big because all of the films in the past has at least an editing nod before it won Best Picture.
You know what? I have to say, though it pains my heart, I think 1917 is the most likely win for the Best Picture. It's British history, and the Academy has shown preference for the Western history, right? Yeah, there's no nomination for the acting, but I don't think it won't do much harm.
Well, yes, a couple of films before didn't get a nomination for like any acting categories. Like Slumdog Millionaire didn't get any, but it still won Best Picture.
So now let's do the final film for the Oscar nominees. We have Parasite, which sits at 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah, I don't know any person that has seen this film who has hated it.
Literally, yes.
It has 6 nominations, including Original Screenplay, Best Director for Bong Joon-ho, Best Production Design, Film Editing, and it's also a winner of Palme d'Or award in the Cannes Film Festival.
Well, the only people I know that won't vote for it are the conservative, traditionalist, old white man of the Academy who still thinks that the Oscars are for American films. Obviously, a foreign film hasn't won before. It came close to last year with Roma, but that didn't happen. So I don't think the Academy is open-minded yet when it comes to a foreign film winning. But if a foreign film will win, Parasite is such the perfect candidate. It is the balance of like a masterpiece and a popcorn film.
If the Oscars want to make a statement, they should vote for Parasite. I think a win for Parasite is a win for diversity, a win for the inclusion.
Yes.
I'm gonna mention what Bong Joon-ho said in his previous acceptance speeches about the subtitles, once you overcome that 1-inch barrier, you will be exposed to a lot of good films. Parasite is nominated for Best Director, Best Picture, and Best International Feature. There's no way Parasite is going to win those three. If I am the voter, I'm going to spread the love. Best International Feature would definitely go to Parasite.
Yes.
Yeah. But if Bong Joon-ho wins Best Director, it's not gonna get the Best Picture.
It is a shoo-in for Best Foreign or Best International Film, but I feel like I wouldn't count out Parasite winning Best Picture.
Yeah.
I still see a very slim chance that it might happen. Like, even though it didn't win the Golden Globes, even though it didn't win the Critics' Choice.
Actually, that slim chance is growing larger and larger.
Yes, and for sure it won't win the BAFTA. It only won the SAG Awards, but like the SAG Awards don't really
have much weight.
Yeah, exactly. But when we think back in 2017, Moonlight hasn't won anything at all except for the Golden Globes. And the Golden Globes voters aren't voters of the Academy. La La Land won Critics' Choice, La La Land won the BAFTA, and the SAG Award that year went to Hidden Figures. Only Golden Globe made Moonlight win, and eventually it won Best Picture. I'm not counting out that Parasite has no chance at all. It still has a chance for Best Picture, but definitely not Best Director.
To sum it up, the two films competing for the Best Picture are pretty much Parasite and 1917, with 1917 having the upper hand. So
a big upper hand, yes.
Yeah. So would you like to add anything else?
I feel like I wouldn't also discount Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it did win the Critics' Choice, and it is a big ensemble cast of a film. It's like Hollywood, Parasite, and 1917.
That wraps up our episode. Dennis, where can they find you?
Yes, you may find me on my channel. It's Playbuck with a U, Playbuck. You can just search for me. I do movie reviews, reaction videos, Oscar stuff as well. So I hope you do subscribe to my channel.
But what about you guys? I want to know your bold takes and hot predictions. Comment them below. Till then guys, see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye!